Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
But it's really not, if you think about it, because Juan Soto is going to get more than $700 million. Like he's going to get more than yes.
Whoa. What?
Yes. Bob guarantee. I'm putting a Bob guarantee on Juan Soto.
Are we okay with that?
Yes. So, all right, I got to give Jay Hay some credit here. Let me pull up the tweet. Because Jay Hay alley-ooped me into people believing that I'm smart. Last night, Jay Hay tweeted, he quote tweeted Underdog, which by the way, shout out to the Underdog Fantasy app. We'll get to that in just a moment. But it was an Underdog MLB tweet that said, John Heyman, Yankees Mets recently upped Juan Soto contract offer to the range of $710 to $730 million. And Jay Hay said, Aaron Judge's contract is going to be literally half of Juan Soto's. Crazy. And then from that tweet, I started to try to do some math, which, again, not my best subject in high school, was just not, or in college for that matter. So I started to do some Scott Steiner math, and I tweeted out, folks think that the Juan Soto bidding is getting out of hand, but think about it this way. Aaron Judge got 9 years, $360 million to cover his age 32 through 40 seasons. Let's say you give Soto the same deal for those age seasons. Now you can go $60 million a year for his age 26 through 31 seasons, and you're at 15 years, $720 million. So, I mean, I think what some people can't digest the years, the commitment. Some people can't digest the money. For some people, it's both. But I think what some people are not comprehending is that we've never, I don't want to say never, but probably never have seen a player this talented with this skill set reach free agency at this age. Like right, Bryce Harper early. Came up in the conversation, but I would still put Juan Soto above
It's just
Bryce
one
Harper.
person. It's just one person.
I was going to say, and before him, think about this.
It's just the rod. It's just the rod.
Well, as far as age, age goes,
how old was A-Rod when he reached free agency? He was in Texas.
He was actually a year younger. He finished his age 24 season in Seattle in 2000 and was in his age 25 in his first year in Texas.
So he signed for what, 252?
Yep.
Which was double the largest contract in professional sports at the time. He was 19.
A-Rod reached in his age 18 season, played 17 games, played 48 games in his age 19 season, and then was a full-time player in his age 20 season.
So before A-Rod, who's the only other guy that was sniffing even the opportunity? Andrew Jones, right?
Yeah, not in like the free agency era. Like, have we seen that?
Like Andrew Jones was 19 dropping bombs in the World Series. And and before him, like that's how far you have to go back before you start to realize, like, not only generational, but like this is, as much as we put Shohei in the light of, will we see this again? Have we ever seen this before? And you can answer that. I think Juan Soto provides a similar question mark, but I think it's for all of the reasons we're discussing right now, because it's the free agency at such a young age. It's the foundational athlete that he is. And are we really about to hand this guy 15 years worth of major league service time and money?
Yep.
Like, is that about to happen?
When you break it down like that, when you say that, because you mentioned Shohei was going into his age 30 season for the Dodgers. So like, we're talking about these prime years of his career, age 26 through 31, which a bulk of those seasons, 4 out of 6 of those seasons, are usually not available for teams to bid on in free agency. And those are peak prime years of a player's career. So I have no problem going $60 million a year for that peak, because I know he'll be worth it. And I know it sounds crazy. $60 million a year. It's like, well, you're just not used to a player being available with this level of talent at those age seasons. It's just, it's foreign in this sport. So now, but the idea of the 9 years, 360 on the back end for ages 32 to 40, we've already seen that. So you're talking about 360 million here, and you're talking about 360 million here. It's just you're doubling Judge's contract. but it's nothing unprecedented in terms of dollars allocated for the skill set, right?
Well, no, but in terms of that's, and here's where I want to go with this too, is, and I hate that Ohtani will always be linked to contracts like this, but I think it bears repeating because we always have to consider an organization and what they're willing to part ways with on the back end, or what they're willing to not recoup in terms of production on the back end. So you're trying to make sure that you're able to strike during this window. Well, you're conceivably providing yourself a 15-year window with Juan Soto, but you have to support that as well. And if he becomes the player that now every single contract essentially outside of him is based around, like, what's the flexibility? What does this provide us? Like I said, you have to support that. And for Juan Soto, is his production in the waning years and the star power in the waning years generating the revenue in the waning years that you think you're going to be able to digest? Or is that now a conversation where we're talking about, all right, hey, that was a great 9-year run for Juan Soto, but we've still got some time left on this contract, and he is not what we thought he was first. Because let's be honest, the idea that Juan Soto gets significantly better defensively, I don't see that happening. All right. And that means he's only going to get worse. And is he a liability? I don't know if he's necessarily a liability, but like I said, where are you going to hide him in those latter years? And that's, I think, also why the money is really tough to swallow at this point. And it doesn't have much to do with the statistical comparison and the years borne out. I think it really does have to do with folks looking at what Ohtani has received, what he generates, and thinking, who else is going to come close to doing that?
So I wish I wouldn't have said crazy in the tweet that Jared referenced, because that implies that I think it implies that I think it's a bad thing, or that like we've gone out of control or whatever. Why I think it's crazy that he's going to get a contract that's double the value of Aaron Judge's is because of the speed with which it happened. I know Juan Soto is younger. I know what the aging curve is. I think Jared's point laid it out really well, with the dollars here and the dollars there, and being able to purchase the ages that they're purchasing in a Juan Soto contract. But we are like, A-Rod's contract was $252. And then we saw, we didn't really see anybody double that contract anytime soon, right? Like, we've now
got another one.
Right. We've now seen 2 $700 million contracts in the last 2 seasons. And I think everybody viewed Ohtani's as a one-off. I'm sure there are many people on record saying, oh, I think this is going to be its own thing, like $700 million. Like, I don't remember any major media reporter saying, like, in the years leading up to Juan Soto's free agency, or even this summer, that Juan Soto was going to get $700 or $750 million. I think somebody said Coley said it on Section 10. So that's the only person I heard say 750 was a reasonable amount of money for Juan Soto. But when you break it down, I think there's merit to it, because you also have a market force going on here where, like, some of the most powerful financial teams in the sport are all interested in the same player at the same time. And, like, if you believe the reporting, which I know is, a leap of faith in some cases with how the reporting has gone this offseason, the number does seem to be moving up incrementally as there seems to be a real bidding going on. And I don't think you always get that with every single high-level free agent in the same way that it's going on with Juan Soto, with like 3 or 4 major media market powers going head-to-head.
And if the Dodgers fancy themselves, which it's clear they do, as the juggernaut, as the big kids on the block, if they have an opportunity to lock up 2 of the game's brightest stars, the 2 top-tier talents at the plate, if they have the ability to do that, and we're talking about sort of lengthening their window and extending it, because if you sign Juan Soto, like I said, you got to believe that if a 15-year deal is on the table for somebody, you think you've got 15 years worth of opportunity to do damage. How do you not secure that?
I mean, it took damn near it can be jarring that Juan Soto is going to get $750 million and also appropriate. Like those things are both, I think, able to live together. Like it from A-Rod's 252, like to Aaron Judge's then record-setting $360 million contract. That's about $110 million that was gained incrementally in contract value. That took basically 2 decades. Okay. And now we've gone to $750 million in the course of basically one offseason. And I think that is remarkable. That is maybe crazy is not the right word. I think it is incredibly noteworthy and eye-popping, to say the least.
Let's I don't know how we would I don't know how we would do this. But if we were to look at, because you would have to think like how many players have had 20-year careers. And then from there, it's almost like drafting. All right, maybe we could do this. And we think about this, but out of the players who've played 20 plus seasons, how many of those had 12-year runs or 14-year runs that you would look at and go, that is top tier productivity for that sustained period of time? You know, because there's going to be down seasons, right? There's going to be ebbs and flows over a 20 plus year career. And I think that's part of the jar. That's part of the initial shock is you think, all right, he's already been playing this game for 6 years, 7 years, it feels, right? And now we're signing him up for 20 plus, definitively 20 plus. What does it look like at the tail end of that? And that's where I and this isn't me judging at all. I'm just curious. This is something I'll probably do when we're done. I want to go back and look at all those players and see who was the best over a 14-year stretch, right? Because the career comparison is cumulative. But if you were to take those age seasons from boom to boom, which obviously we can do, I think that's interesting to look at.
I mean, I just look at it as when you're looking at the bidding, and to Jay Hay's point, like, yes, it is remarkable. And even up until last night when I broke it down like that, I was like, are we fucking kidding with this? Like $700 and something million for this player. But then when you break it down is like, all right, yeah, it's Aaron Judge's contract on the back end. And then it's $60 million a year for his prime, his entire prime, like age 26 through 31. That's his prime. Am I paying 60? Is that digestible? $60 million a year for Juan Soto's prime? Absolutely. Like I would even I think that there are people that have been like, what would you pay 70? Because the other term that we haven't used in this discussion yet is opt-out. This contract is going to have at least one, if not two opt-outs in it. Well, and when is that going to come? Like those opt-outs are going to come prior to age 30, 31, 32, somewhere in that region. So would you, for Juan Soto's age 26 through, call it 30 seasons, would you give him $70 million a year? Yeah. With the opt-out after age 30 and then the rest of the money on the back end. Yeah, sure. Take it.
That's where the opt-outs become interesting though, is because I don't know how willing, this is where the organization has to find their stance. How willing are you to give all of these opt-outs with the guaranteed attached? Like, look, I'm willing to write a massive check. I'm willing to make you the richest baseball player that's ever lived. In return, I need you telling me that you will be here. That's what I'm paying for.
That's not going to happen
for that.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen because all it takes with what? I'll say 4 teams. I'm going to. There's 4 teams that are legitimately all in on Juan Soto. And I'm removing the Dodgers. Like the Dodgers, okay, like the Dodgers are ponying up the cash, but like, are they all in? No. So we're talking Blue Jays, Mets, Yankees, Red Sox, all in on Juan Soto. If there's one team of that group that's going to be like, all right, if all it takes, like if they're not willing, like they're saying, oh, I'm giving you all this money, so I don't want any opt-outs in the deal. All it takes is 1 out of 4 of those teams being like, if it'll get it done, sure, take the fucking opt-outs. We don't care.
Absolutely.
Like then, yeah, like that's just going to happen. Like that deal is going to have I would assume multiple opt-outs in it. And if that's the case, and Soto's trying to load up in those prime years, 26 through 30, 31, I'm cool with going 70 million a year for his prime. So then if we were just talking about 60 million for 26 through 31, and then 32 through 40 is only 40 million a year, I believe, right? To get the average annual value of that Aaron Judge's contract is 40.
Yes.
Okay. So then now what does that number look like? That's almost 800 million. It's 70 for the first 6 and then 40 for the last 9.
For the last 9.
Yeah. What's that?
Sorry, what was it?
70.
I thought you were going to give the answer. I thought you already had it. My bad.
It's $780 million. 700. If you go 70 per for the first 6 and then 40 per for the last 9, the Judge contract, it's $780 million. And the bidding right now, like we're seeing 750 is the highest number I've seen. Like the Mets are at 750 or something like that. Yeah. Like there's still room to go up and for it to make sense.
Well, and remember, you always, like from what we've been told, always just tack on 50 plus. So if Uncle Stevie's throwing you 750 and the Yankees counter with 8, we know Uncle Stevie's guaranteeing to counter with 850. So when does it stop?
Dallas, are you telling me right now that you see a world where this contract gets to $800 million?
No.
Because if that were the case, I would only have one reaction.
I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it.
I can't even believe it. I mean, there's no way that this contract is going to start with an 8. There's no way.
I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it.
Oh, glorious. Yeah, 8. I just that's where I've had such a difficult time. Seriously, I have wrapping my head around the reality of this, because I think this is something that a lot of former players do, is you instantly, because the first thing in your brain is 10 years and what it takes to get to that mark. And then you think about being a player that is good enough to have a 5-year, 7-year contract extended your way, right? Because that means, like, buddy, we're going to build around you. We're drafting with the idea that these players could conceivably come up and play with you, and you're going to impact. Like, that's what that means. 15 years? 15 years. Well, it really is remarkable to think like that is a decade and a half worth of turnover, worth of change, worth of draft success, free agent draft success, failure, like that. And there's going to be one common denominator, and it's going to be that individual. And for me, if you have that dude in your lineup, in your organization, there is so much more pressure that comes after signing Juan Soto, because this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Great. You got your golden goose. Now, what kind of nest are you giving him? What are you providing this golden goose? Because you have him, fantastic. You have built one team around one player, and you now it is incumbent upon you to make sure that that is not where the responsibility and the success of your franchise solely lies for the next 15 years. Now you got to roll up your sleeves and get to work, because the easy part is signing him when you really think about it. If you're a player for him, the easy part is getting this deal done. To your point, Jared, if all 4 squares here that you're staring at right now are in on him, and Jake's the dude who's like, yeah, buddy, opt-outs galore. How many you fucking want? Pick them. Well, then Jake's getting them. And that's what's going to happen. And so now the work begins for Jake, because Jake, you got him in-house. What do you do now?
Well, what if Jake is the Texas Rangers? I mean, like, it's not like, on the surface, what you're saying is completely right. Like, if you're a team that is spending all this money, because I think, so to give perspective here, because I think Jay Hay, Dallas, and myself, we are in our mid to late 30s, Dallas 40. So we have a strong recollection of the Alex Rodriguez contract. Jake, T-Dog, Milky, like the fans like that, they didn't live it. So when they hear 252, they're like, oh yeah, like that's like a frontline starting pitcher. No. When A-Rod signed with the Texas Rangers, that was the biggest sports story of the year because it was, I believe, double the largest contract in professional sports at the time.
Yeah,
and I think that's why they got to 252 is because it was like he wanted it to be exactly double. I think it was Kevin Garnett's contract.
Oh, okay. Sports. I mean, because I was going to say it was the first $200 million contract, right? And because Boris had negotiated the first, he's negotiated the first 50, 100, 150, 200, 200, and that because the Kevin Brown deal had happened in like the mid 90s. To get to that 100 million mark. But yeah, Jake, like that's what I'm saying, dude, is as players and as a dude who was like knocking on the door of trying to get to professional baseball, and you're thinking about this, like, bro, did he just sign for 10 years? The Texas Rangers just went and bought Alex Rodriguez for 10 years.
Yeah. Like, so Kevin Garnett in 1998, Kevin Garnett signed a 6-year, $126 million contract, which was the largest contract in professional sports at the time. 126 times 2 is 252, which is what A-Rod signed with the Texas Rangers. So it was like an intentional, hey, like let's double the largest contract in professional sports. So I know 252 doesn't set, like we're desensitized to that now. Like 252 might get you Max Fried today. No disrespect to Max Fried, but like, you know, it's a lot of money, and it's for you get a good player if you dish out 252. But at the time it was like, holy shit, $252 million for one player. That's insane. So now, you know, we're looking at 750, and that number may not even be what gets it done.
For the Jakes and the Milkies of the world, I saw a great anecdote circling yesterday that will provide some other context to, because that was 2000. I was like 15 years old, so it was right in smack in my youth baseball fandom. There was a great anecdote certainly circling around about the winter meetings and how right before the news broke of A-Rod going to the Rangers, there started to be whispers or something like that, and a Seattle executive was quoted at what was told about the potential $252 million contract and said, "No way, man, that's totally false. Like if that was true, it would already be signed. We're still in this." This is the Seattle guy, and Seattle's offer apparently topped out at $92 million. $92 million. And the Rangers came over with a 252 punch in the face. And apparently, like, you know, Boris contacted A-Rod and was like, the Rangers can get this done. Do you want to do this? And he said, A-Rod reportedly said, get it done. And that's how he became a Ranger or whatever. But like, it was in a different stratosphere of contracts. Now it was
I want to be on that elevator ride.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like Manny and Jeter signed. What did Manny sign his deal with the Red Sox initially? What was it? 8 years, $160 million.
160 with like the $20 million option, so it was 180.
Yeah, so I mean, I remember that being eye popping at the time, but it also wasn't. You know, it didn't blow you away because of what you'd already seen. So, yeah, it was a huge deal. I mean, I think this I guess is not. This is bigger and less in the same way because it's obviously not double the previous largest contract in professional sports. And I think it's worth reminding people now, since the Ohtani comparison gets brought up all the time, that Ohtani's is a 10-year contract. So even if Juan Soto comes in at $775 over 15, that's like $51 million a year, which like, I'm not commenting either way on that, but like it's a pretty sizable average annual value difference, even with all. We'll see what the deferments work out to, but you know what I mean. So the A-Rod thing at the time though was crazy. Really was.
To the point of the
Awesome
desensitization. I'm not even going to try that a third time. It like with the Texas Rangers, we were talking about a $500 million infield 2 years ago, right? Or 3 years ago. And then you got the Ohtani deal, who surpasses that single-handedly. And now we're talking about a Juan Soto deal, who I just can't get it out of my head, where if 750's on the table and that's not getting it done, then there's more meat on that bone. And that means whatever's left, Uncle Stevie Uncle Stevie says he's flying around and he will not be the buzzard that doesn't eat. So there's just bananas.
The other thing I just want to say is like, I know people get sticker shock and all that, and we'll see what the number is and we'll see how it ages. And, we can talk about it in 15 years or whatever. But generally speaking, I think it is borne out that shopping at the absolute top of the market or doing precedent setting contracts in some sort of way financially has generally worked out for the team or the value of the contract if moved to another team. Like A-Rod's contract, maybe the Rangers weren't set up specifically to reap the rewards of that. That ended up being a perfectly reasonable contract, so much so that he then opted out and re-signed another record-setting. Yeah. So like,
is it 275?
I think that I know that one got a little dicey there towards the end. The original A-Rod contract was a tremendous value. Bryce Harper's contract has aged very well so far for the Phillies. I don't think anybody would say they regret that deal.
The Phillies are going to end up getting Trey Turner and Bryce Harper combined for less than what Soto gets.
Yeah. Like the other than $700 million in deferments, the other thing that people say about the Shohei deal already is what a deal for the Dodgers, right? It's like, oh, look at how much they made off of this and that and media deals and like jersey sales and all of this and the deferments. And it's like, okay, we're one offseason past him getting $700 million with some of it deferred. And it's like, oh, that's already a great deal for the Dodgers. So it's like most of these deals, I know there are instances that have not gone quite as well, but like Jeter, Manny, all of those deals, the Corey Seager deal, the Francisco Lindor deal, both of those are aging perfectly well so far. Like I know there are questionable ones, but like the most shopping at the top of the market has done pretty well for the teams that signed those deals.
Yeah. You could even say the long-term deal for the Cardinals fans who saw Pujols worked out at the end.
Well, Pujols is an example of maybe it not working quite as well.
Worked great for St. Louis.
Great for St. Louis, Jay.
Dodgers too in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's the greatest time of the year and football's back. And it's here to stay until February. A lot of people playing their fantasy championships right now.
Playoffs, not championship yet.
Yeah. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog. Went up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player's stats like touchdowns, passing yards, and more. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward and signing up is even easier. Just head on over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code Jared. That's Jared. And Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Jared to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. I don't know what it was last night on baseball Twitter, but I feel like a lot of people thought Soto was going last night. There was a certain buzz in the air. I think it's just like, I know a lot of people have Soto fatigue. I don't. I have like fake reporter fatigue. That's what I have. I don't have Soto fatigue. I actually, when I woke up this morning, I checked my Facebook memories and it said like, oh, 2 years ago today, you had a mental breakdown about Xander Bogaerts signing with the Padres. And however many years ago today, it was the day that Carl Crawford signed with the Red Sox. So like around this time is when some major pieces have fallen, at least in my life, that I've been interested in free agency. So we're right around that time. Like this feels appropriate that it could be today. So yeah, I don't have Juan Soto sweepstakes fatigue. I have like these dipshits on Twitter that are like, yeah, I have sources. And it's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You really don't. But I think we're going to get an end to this because we're recording on Sunday because I have a flight tomorrow. So we're recording this on Sunday morning. If he signs during this podcast, that would be outstanding. If it's some point today, it's going to be 2 podcasts in a day because we're going to do the emergency pod. And then hopefully it's not while I'm in the air tomorrow. That'll fucking suck. I just know like there's going to be a chance that it's either when I'm in the air tomorrow or at the cheer competition on Tuesday. Just please don't sign at all during those time periods. The Willie Adames breaking tweet yesterday fuck. My asshole went into my throat. It was crazy. I just saw Jeff Passan in a big all caps breaking, and I was like, it's almost like my eyes forgot how to read. I saw breaking, and then I jumped to the body of the tweet. Like, where is the name? And then I saw Willy Adames, and I was like, all right, I guess I couldn't even, I didn't know what team it was. It could have been like Willy Adames to the Red Sox, and I almost like didn't care once I saw the name Willy Adames. It just wasn't Juan Soto. But congratulations to the San Francisco Giants, who finally convinced the player to take their money. It has been years, literal years of the San Francisco Giants begging high-end free agent players to take their money. Carlos Correa tried to at one point, didn't work out that way, but man, has it been a long journey for these San Francisco Giants to lock down a player. 7 years, what was it, 182?
7 for 182. And I think what's at play here is a player, Buster Posey, coming in and identifying a deal that's been done. Look, you lock up Matt Chapman, and now you start to think like a ball player because you're thinking about, all right, I need to lock up a core. I need to lock up, as we talk about building strength through the middle of the infield. Well, that's not the middle of the infield, but really it kind of is, because you've got Willy Adames playing a hybrid shortstop because Matt Chapman's playing a hybrid third base shortstop. And I'll get to some of the defensive metrics in a little bit, but what you are, I think, starting to see is Buster Posey trying to create, and Buster Posey and the Brain Trust trying to create or extend a window, because they've got guys like a Logan Webb that they feel they can build around in the rotation. Now you need to start to bolster that offense. And again, with the defense, you bring a guy in who Adames, look, not a terrible shortstop, 963 fielding percentage last year. I think when you combine him with what Matt Chapman is able to do as far as range is concerned on the left side, Willy Adames, when it comes to outs above average to the left, if I'm remembering correctly, -1. Matt Chapman +1 outs above average ranging to the left. So what does that tell you? That tells you that Chappie can move to the left. That tells you that Willie maybe not great, but if you now start to position these guys accordingly with what Chappie's able to do, you now might be able to reel in Adames. You're not asking him to do quite as much. And now you're really starting to see the benefit of a good defender in Adames, maybe turn into a slightly above average, well above average defender. And you know what you're getting from Chapman. But I just think all in all, it's Buster and the Brain Trust saying, I want to extend the window. I understand the value of having multiple guys that we can look to and sort of count on for the future. And this is a great place to start with Adames.
That's going to be a great left side of the infield there. I'm excited for the Giants. I'm excited for their fans. They very dedicated, passionate fans. And it feels like they have been getting stiffed in free agency for a little while now. So it's good to see them get a win. They got better, obviously, by adding Adames. I was surprised to see the number, but I mean, credit to Adames. He turned himself into quite the baseball player in Milwaukee.
Well, and it's not just what can come defensively, right? We're talking about a dude who, okay, maybe not eye-popping numbers offensively, but this is a guy who's got 20 plus homer pop, right? Yeah. And so I think that is also something you have to consider. Look, ballpark, tough place to hit. If you're a guy who's like a fringe power guy, tough place to hit. That'll tend to get exposed. But something else, like for the Giants, because what do they surrender by signing Adames? Right? They gave up the 2nd and 5th picks in 2025, lose $1 million in international signing money. So if they were to sign another free agent with a qualifying offer attached to him, they would then have to give up the 3rd and 6th picks that they have. So if that were the case, they could be sitting in a position where the only picks they have over the first 6 are 1 and 4.
If I'm them, I don't care. I mean, if that's the cost of doing business, like I think this team needs to continue pushing personally. Like I know they've been linked to Corbin Burns, top end starting pitching. I think they need that type of person to pair with Logan Webb, who we all agree is awesome and a worthy ace. But the rest of that rotation has significant questions attached to basically every name that is slated behind Logan Webb. And I like the Willy Adames deal. I'm with Jared. The initial number was a little bit not off-putting, but I thought, it was above most projections on most, stats-based websites or opinion or crowdsourcing or whatever. But, it also fits the Giants. I think a lot of their strength, to the point that Dallas, I think, made, is building up the middle. And their best players are Adames, Matt Chapman, who I think we can all agree is a middle-ish player, even if he's at third base. And, Patrick Bailey, I think, is potentially on the list of maybe the most underrated players in the game, given his defensive impact. And
he's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, he's on the short list of the most impactful defensive players in the game. And I think when you are that sort of player, the threshold with your bat is almost all gravy. And he's shown a surprising amount of potential. I know last year was overall maybe a little bit of a step back from what he'd shown in 23, but still the entire package is incredibly appealing. So I don't know, Adames is weird because I know the numbers, the counting numbers are eye-popping in the context of the rest of his career, career high in homers, easily a career high in RBI, had never even stolen double-digit bases, let alone 21 that he did last year. But a lot of his rate stats and his wins above replacement numbers are actually extremely consistent with his previous work. And that's that he's a 3 to 4 win player. And adding that sort of guy at $26 million a year, I think makes a lot of sense for a big market team that is invested in the present. I just think they need to continue to be more invested in the present because they're not quite good enough yet, given the hellish division that they find themselves in.
Yeah, it feels like you're playing for the second best record in the division, from Jump Street every year.
But I think that's attainable for this team with a Corbin Burns type acquisition. I know that's an expensive acquisition. That's $250 whatever $million, but they're also they're not rebuilding. This is not a rebuilding team. Obviously, you don't sign Willy Adames. If that's the case, you don't extend Matt Chapman. And I think Buster Posey has something of a grace period here where it is interesting that a former player is basically running the team now. You don't really see a ton of that in the modern game. And I think that's noteworthy. And, you're
watching it happen in Texas, right? With Chris Young and the moves that he's making. He's surrounded himself. He's insulated himself. Craig Breslow in Boston. We have an opportunity to see how he's able to start to move the needle there. And that's why I said with Buster identifying a window, he's looking, and I love this little wordplay, but he is looking through this window into another window from a different perspective that others have in the past that are wearing his same hat, that have the same responsibilities he does. And he's putting a little elbow grease on this. He's putting a little on it. And I think that's what's getting folks in San Francisco excited. But that's why I wanted to talk about what they have attached to the Adames signing, losing the second and fifth pick, and what could potentially come to sign, or what could potentially to come if they sign another free agent with that qualifying offer attached as well. Because you got your first pick, you got your fourth pick, and then we're not going to talk again until your seventh pick. And if you are not in a rebuilding phase, then the moves you make right now that are going to relinquish those draft picks, they need to work. You need to hit, because we're talking about you conceding a large chunk of your early future in the draft for these guys to hit. And this is where this front office and Buster Posey, the ball player, will be put to the test on whether or not they have positioned themselves to withstand a loss in the draft like that. And are they ready to make the commitment to a free agent that represents just that, but could represent success on the other side?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what other players that the San Francisco Giants could really bring in that have the QO attached. realistically, like, I don't know. Are the reports that they're saying that they're done? Like, I feel like every team's like, we're not done. But as far as like the big fish, they might be done.
Well, I mean, who's the big fish? That's why we're talking about like a Max Fried, come on home to Cali. We're talking about a Corbin Burns. Like, if these are moves
Fried is
that you're going to make.
Yankees. I haven't seen another legit player for Fried outside of the Red Sox and the Yankees, at least like reportedly. And then Burns is like, who are his main suitors?
I thought the Giants were still being sniffed around with Corbin Burns.
Yeah. His markets, it just feels very unclear. Like, it feels like every time that
maybe it's a post Soto market.
Yeah, like I just keep seeing anytime that like there's teams linked to Corbin Burns, it's just like, oh, here are some big market teams that have money to spend.
Here's a thought. Let me ask you this: if you're one of these teams, if you're one of these teams that's in on Soto, and you don't land him, why are you not going and grabbing those two? Is that not a thought? If you were willing to write this kind of check to Soto for this long, there's a chance that money's not going to equal what it's going to equal between Fried and Burns. And there's a chance you're not going to have to pay them for as long. So why not? Why not go and put 2/5 of your rotation and just like insert Cy Young caliber talent right here.
Yeah. I think the odds are against them signing with the same team, but I mean, why not? If you're gonna cut a check for $700 million.
Like I seriously, genuinely wonder why or to what extent those conversations are had. Why is that not a good contingency plan? Do you feel like if you're just a Juan Soto away and you don't get him, that adding two guys like that to your rotation can't help? Can't change? Because let me inform you of something. We can just walk Soto. Yeah. We can just not let him beat us. We can't not let Corbin Burns beat us. We can't not let Max Fried beat us. And out of a 3-game series, it's really hard to just not let those two beat us.
Well, we'll see. The Orioles land Tyler O'Neill, 3-year deal for him. I had RDT hit me up being like, what can we expect from old Tyler O'Neill? And I was like, well, we had a healthy year from Tyler O'Neill. He normally doesn't have those. So there's always the injury risk. He's very streaky offensively, but when you look up at the end of the year, is if he plays the games, you're going to like what you see. You know, the rate numbers are going to be what you want to see. But he is streaky. And defensively, no bueno. Not very good defensively. Every time that he throws the ball back into the infield, he does the janitor's throw, and he'll throw out a grand total of 0 base runners doing it. Just a full cartwheel in the air.
Why are you harshing on the Gold Glover, bro?
I think he has 2.
He's got 2. Jared, he's got 2. Look, let me ask you guys this.
Let me
he was a different defensive player back then.
On the surface, though, could this be labeled as one of the better like team fit, team need acquisitions?
I mean, when you lose Santander, I mean, I feel like the Orioles haven't really been linked to bringing Santander back. You lose a 40 homer guy. Yeah, like you need to. I know that Santander is switch hitter, but is it a rumor, or are they bringing the left field wall back in?
No, so that was my next point. Is the wall is coming back, and so now you've got official? A guy who can. That's official. It's official. Okay. This is yes. The left field wall in Baltimore is now in its Goldilocks era. Right? It was too short. It was too long, and now this one's going to be just right. This is going to be just right for him. So there you are plugging in a 2-time Jared, a multi-Gold Glove winner. Into a conceivably easier left field to play. And on the flip side, this is a guy who did just pop 30 with 31 for the second time since his, MVP campaign? He finished 8th in the MVP?
He's not an MVP caliber player. Come on. He's a nice right-handed bat. I'm trying to give the folks in Baltimore something to be excited about here. Be happy about it. I'm not saying they shouldn't be happy about it, but every time that if you're unfamiliar with the player and then you look at the resume and you see 2-time Gold Glover, you're like, okay, cool. We get a guy with some right-handed pop and he's got 2 Gold Gloves. Like, do not expect defense from this guy. Like, he is horrendous.
Give Orioles fans a little bit more credit. He just played in that division. He's not some complete stranger from the Arizona
RDT covers
Diamond.
The game professionally, and he still asked like what to expect from this guy.
All right, well then you know what? Maybe we should bleep that out to save RDT's rep. But the in terms of Tyler O'Neill, I think actually I'm Mr. Sunshine on this one. I guess because I think this is a really nice pickup in the context.
I didn't say it was bad. I just said don't expect anything defensively.
You basically called him a cripple. Shit.
Yeah, you said he's going to play left field. Yeah, it was.
No, I said nice. Jake, what did I say? Nice right-handed bat is going to suck defensively.
Okay, all right. So 2 things.
I asked Jake a question. Jake, what did I say?
Yeah, you said he hits bombs and he doesn't throw anybody out.
Thank you. That's what I said.
All right. So thank you to Jake always for being impartial. If in the context of they were very unlikely to bring back Anthony Santander, which is very true, I think, and that the resources are, if not, maybe they're not as limited in the past, but it's kind of opaque. We don't necessarily know, and they're not shopping at the absolute top end, it doesn't seem like, for some of these people. Then I think this is a nice acquisition. And I think to Dallas's point about the ballpark, the defensive thing, fine. He also posted a career high pull rate as a right-handed batter. He leaned into who Tyler O'Neill may be moving forward in the sense that there was more
the ballpark though.
There was more swing. At playing at Fenway?
Yeah.
But I'm saying I think he's going to being able to pull the ball, I think is going to be a benefit in the new configuration at Camden, where I think those balls that maybe would have been singles last season or doubles on that wall may now turn to be home runs. I don't know that he's going to exactly replicate what he did in Boston, but I don't think he necessarily has to. But I think that he seems to recognize who he should be moving forward with more swing and miss, trying for more power, pulling the ball more fly balls, all of that. Almost everything I just said was at a career high rate in 2024. Like that to me makes him a very intriguing fit in 2025, Baltimore, Camden, that lineup in general.
Well, and not only aside from that, you also got to understand, think about what their starting outfield looks like, right? Who do you have in who do you have in center field? Cedric Mullins.
Mm-hmm.
He's a left-hander. Colton Cowser. He's a left-hander, right? Everybody out there is a left-hander. So now you plug Tyler O'Neill in. Tyler O'Neill, right-hander. Now you got somebody in there that you can, on any given day, you can start the lefty, and you got Tyler O'Neill that you feel confident in banging a lefty. Just adds depth.
Also, in regards to the Tyler O'Neill sweepstakes, isn't it smarter to go Tyler O'Neill for the right-handed pop than go Teoscar, who had the QO? Because there was no QO for Tyler O'Neill.
Well, there's no QO for.
Go ahead, please go.
No, I was just going to say, there's no qualifying offer. I mean, that's a. I was going to talk about that, and there's something attached to. I'll save it for the Holmes thing. Go ahead, Jay.
No, my assumption was that Teoscar is going to come in at a larger overall dollar amount and higher average annual value. If that proves to be wrong, then I'll revise this opinion. But for a team operating within some sort of budgetary constraint, I think Tyler O'Neill at a lesser dollar. I think I might like that more than Teoscar at $25 million a year or something like that for 3 years.
But I do really think that with this new, I guess it will remain to be seen, but with this new regime, do they value the draft pick? Are they in love with the dollars conceivably attached to the high-end draft picks and what those are worth in their algorithm? But yeah, I think that's why I said I feel like right now, just in terms of the best fit and team need combination, I think Tyler O'Neill is one of the better acquisitions this offseason.
Wow, that's a strong take. Strong take. He's got to stay healthy though. That's been a major part of his career.
No doubt. I don't think anybody like that. That's just something that comes along with this player is, that we understand that. So if he's healthy, you have an idea of what he can provide you. And I think this team, with everything that we just laid out, the qualifying offer, the moving of the wall, the right-handed option, the power, the defensive prowess, Jared, this is a great fit for the Baltimore Orioles.
Huge. They also signed Gary Sanchez. I don't know that we need to spend a ton of time on that, but get ready to learn grounding into double plays, buddy.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I am really interested in the Clay Holmes signing.
Yeah.
Really interested in the Clay Holmes signing.
3-year deal.
Simply because, what's that?
3-year deal.
Well, 3-year deal, what, 3 for 40? 3 for 38? 38. 3 for 38. And what are we doing, though? What are we doing? We just went and got a guy who had a great year. And I think everything that you read, everything that you watched tells you, sure, it was up and down at times, but zoom out, damn good season. Damn good season. But what the New York Mets have decided to do is go out and get a reliever who had a fantastic year and turn him into a starter. Now, we can dive into the numbers and the success of Clay Holmes in the different roles. I mean, he's started 4 games in his career, so it's not like we're talking about a large sample size here. And if we just want to kind of run through those numbers, they weren't great, folks. 4 starts, 15 innings, 20 hits, 14 runs, 2 homers, 13 walks. It's not ideal when you have a sub-1 strikeout to walk ratio. That's just not, it's not good. So now it almost made me feel like, did the Mets like pull a financial fast one here? Did they try to avoid spending on the market for starting pitching by going and getting a reliever and then turning him into a starter so that they can still maintain their position in the Soto race? Because why would they not be a team that, as I said, could potentially be one of those pivots where if you don't land Soto, why are Fried and Burns not already have jerseys hanging in their locker in your clubhouse? But instead, they've opted to go to Clay Holmes here. And over a 3-year period, there's no other way to say it. This will be an experiment. Clay Holmes will be experimented with as a starter. And will the repertoire work? Will he be able to make the transition? And I just, if the answer is no, and he has to slot back into the bullpen, then okay. I just found it interesting that, go ahead, Jay.
No, I mean, but you kind of landed there at the end on what I was going to say is that I think I saw Coley say this on Twitter last night, but like if the starting rotation experiment fails and he's a $13 million a year reliever, I don't think that's all that bad of an outcome given the track record that he's shown as a reliever. I know he became something of like a punchline with his removal from the closer's role, but like this is actually a very good reliever. If we just kind of move back out from that over the last, 3-4 years, he's been a top 10, top 12 reliever in Major League Baseball, given quantity and quality. And I think so you said it's like instead of being a landing spot for those other pitchers, I would still expect that if the Mets strike out on Juan Soto, that they would be a landing spot for a potential landing spot for a Corbin Burns, because it's worth remembering that they've had to almost rebuild like 60-80% of their rotation over the course of this offseason. And some of the returning guys,
Manaea, Quintana,
are not exactly like forces of stability. Like Sengo has been awesome generally, like 2 years ago when he pitched, but was essentially unavailable all of last season. And David Peterson and Paul Blackburn were the other quote unquote returning starters on that rotation. So like a lot of work needed to be done. And I think a Clay Holmes experiment in conjunction with the Frankie Montas signing leaves room potentially for a Corbin Burns or something like that if they were to strike out on Juan Soto, which I think is a large part of why, to Jared's comment earlier about the Corbin Burns market seeming like it's a little less clear than some of these other ones. I do think it's like a post Soto thing. And I think he's probably wise to play it that way. But there have been enough instances of intriguing bullpen to rotation conversions for me to at least be intrigued by what the Mets have going on here. Like Crochet, Hicks, Lopez, King, Lugo, like those are all various degrees of successful. But on the whole, I think you can look at those and say 4 of those are like wild successes, with the exception of Hicks. And while I don't think Clay Holmes is going to be exactly any of those guys, I do think it's worth trying if the worst case scenario is that you're paying $13 million to your setup guy.
Yeah, I just if things don't work out with Juan Soto, for me, I because I think how far removed are we from handing Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer contracts to essentially try to achieve what we're talking about right now? So go do the same thing with guys who are not aging and at the end of their careers, guys who are quite literally in the middle.
But those could
ready
still
to
happen even
with
with the Holmes thing. That's what I'm saying. Yes. Like, okay.
Yeah. But I'm saying my point is from there, the experimental window for the Clay Holmes thing, that becomes smaller. Like, all right, Clay, you still got time. We gave you the money and we told you we're going to give you this opportunity. We missed there. You now have a chance to be a guy here. And if you're not, well, the opportunity to be our guy in the bullpen might come a little sooner.
It is interesting. It is interesting when you have a guy that's been rumored to, is he going to be a starter? Like there's teams that are interested in having him start, relieve, and then the Mets are just kind of quiet on it. But, good for him. He got his bag. It was coming off an all-star season with the Yankees. And not that like their hopes and dreams swing on the balance of some of the players that they're losing, like Anthony Rizzo, Clay Holmes, Gleyber Torres, but especially if it's Juan Soto, like the Yankees are losing a lot of the roster that got them to the World Series last year. So, I mean, no team stands to lose more and look, I guess, more different than the New York Yankees if Juan Soto signs elsewhere. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Shane Bieber back to the Guards on a 1-year deal. I was pissed about this one, but I mean, there's nothing the Red Sox could have done. They, I'm told, rolled out the red carpet for him. Like they wanted him bad. And Biebs staying with Cleveland, like it has nothing to do with like the other team's offers. This was like a quality of life decision for Shane Bieber. So yes. If it ends up being the 1-year deal and he makes it back to the market after, it puts up big numbers in 2025, he can become a free agent again after the season, and then he can kind of revisit the other teams that he visited with and maybe was interested in signing with. So I'm not like, yes, I'm disappointed, but like if it delays my Shane Bieber to the Red Sox experience by a year, then it is what it is.
I think it's a nice turn of events for Cleveland. Kind of unexpected too, because I don't think Cleveland very often makes basically, $15-ish million investments with the possibility of getting very little in return. Like that scenario exists because Shane Bieber's out until mid-season-ish, July. We'll see exactly what that means, but like he's going to miss a significant chunk of the 2025 season, and that 2026 option is a player option with a buyout. So if, to Jared's point, if Shane Bieber wants to put himself back in free agency and does that, then, Cleveland could only be getting maybe 2 months of Shane Bieber. And if Cleveland's not good next year, maybe they're not getting any significant contributions. But that's what I like about it in a sense, because I think it's exactly the sort of risk that this team needs to be taking given the state of its rotation and the holes that we saw there and the sort of upside that a second half Shane Bieber injection could provide. There's also the flexibility that if Cleveland is not in a position to be taking advantage of a healthy Shane Bieber, that he could be a trade asset for them if he proves healthy in time for the trade deadline as well. So a lot of flexibility here. Obviously, if he doesn't throw lights out, he could, exercise the player option and be back with Cleveland in 2026. Either way, I think it's a nice investment in a player that has, by all reports, had an excellent relationship with the organization and a lot of success with their pitching development, for that matter. Yeah.
That's all. And as Jared sort of alluded to, like, there's things that there's things that go on in a ball player's life. There's things that happen. Life happens, and you find yourself in a position where ultimately, if the toughest decision that you have to make is whether or not you want to make $14 million right now and put yourself in a position to make money again the next year, and just really it's about how and where you're going to make this money, and you have an opportunity to do what you're going to do and provide for your family. Like I don't see Biebs as a dude who's really made too many poor decisions in his life, and he continues to make the right decisions, which continues to put him in the right spot. So I ultimately, I'm happy for him.
Am I making it up, or at one point in September or something like that, did we cite an article or kind of chuckle about an article that said Shane Bieber was going to get $150 million guaranteed? And then we were like, that sounds crazy for a guy coming off of reconstruction. Did we not do that here? Was that?
I don't recall.
Yeah, I don't.
Forget me then. It just seemed crazy. And it was, obviously, because he got a one-year deal.
He still could get that big.
No, he
payday.
could next year.
Yeah.
I think not, but yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about specifically this season.
Yeah, it was like a predictions column. I'm gonna find it. I'll get back to you guys.
Yeah, find it. Baseball fans want to piss and moan about the accuracy of the league's umpires. How about the fucking league's reporters? I feel like we are just not nailing it this winter. There's just contradicting information is abound. And that's why I'm just riding the waves. Even in the scoop shop, we'll get information that completely contradicts reports that are out there. And I'm just like, I don't know where to put my emotions. So I'm just letting things happen.
You know what I think is happening in this day and age is, whether it's sports media, mainstream media, for your political climate, whatever it is, there's a major distrust in the information. There's a major distrust in the integrity of those disseminating the information. And so it feels like folks are taking it upon themselves now, where if you have a cousin who's the door guy at the hotel and they overheard, and you now have a source, and that's what you're going with, and you're going to say that because you're like, well, fuck, that's just as good as somebody else having the same situation and saying the same shit. Why can't I? That's what I'm going to believe. And shit gets pumped out there, and it's so muddy, it's so watered down. That's what I think happens.
Yeah, man. Jake knows. We see some of the information that comes across, and people keep asking me, what do you think about Juan's? I was literally bagging fucking groceries yesterday, and the young gentleman who was in charge of the self-checkout, he's asking me about Juan Soto. I'm like, I'm still at 17%, man. I've had people that I guess I don't want to call them directly involved, but are in the know, say 60% for the Red Sox. And that didn't move my 17%. I still just, people are, oh, are you up? Are you down? I'm like, I'm hearing there's some reports that the Red Sox aren't even involved anymore. And then there's some people saying 60% chance. So I'm just staying right here. My 17% feels safe. It feels like I'm being realistic about the situation. And sure, there's just information that contradicts all over the fucking place.
Well, let's be honest. When you have a puppet like John Heyman serving the role that he has served and doing what he has done.
Thank you, John. I can't even believe it.
When you have him doing what he has done and carrying the gallons upon gallons of water that he has carried for the Boris Corp and Boris clients, isn't it fair to entertain the notion that maybe that's kind of what's going on too? Like, is there some reporting warfare going on where, hey, you know what?
There's that, there's clout chasing. It's both.
I need to kill this story. I need to kill the idea that this team is even in the mix. And it could be because I want to help bolster the chances of this club, and that's kind of who I'm doing this for. Or it could be because I actually want the Red Sox to be in on this, or I want the Yankees to be in on this. So I'm trying to kill the idea that they are in on this. I want everybody to move their focus and shift their interest. Like, so, I think that's also something that's happening.
I want to play the Keith McPherson, John Heyman clip, just because it's entertaining, it's very funny, but there's also a conversation to be had about today's journalism that derives from, I guess, John Heyman's reaction that I'd love to get into. And I'll preface it by saying this, because John Heyman makes a quip about Keith where he's like, well, you're not a journalist. You don't know how this works. And I don't consider myself to be a journalist, but I do know how this works. And the information to what Dallas is saying, about agents wanting to get a narrative out there. If you are an executive for a Major League Baseball team, do you want information that could ruin your entire operation to get out there? And not only that, could get you fired? Like, if you're working for a front office, what incentive do you have outside of the rush of gossiping, which I feel like most of us get over that when we graduate from high school? What benefit do you have as an executive to tell reporters information? There's no benefit to you. It only puts you in harm's way. It could potentially ruin your chances of signing said player. And B, it could jeopardize your job, whether that be getting fired or any future promotion because you can't be trusted. With agents, of course, they're going to spread information because they have nothing to lose. It's beneficial to them to have information reach reporters, and then the reporters can get the narrative out there to create whatever dialogue on the internet that they need to create. If they need to create panic amongst the fan base, they can do that. If they need to create panic amongst the front office that's desperate to sign the player, but maybe they're a little gun shy to up their offer, agents can do that. So just be cognizant of the fact that the information that's coming out there is mostly from agents, because I'm not going to say that no executives talk. Some executives talk, sure. But a lot of it is agents, and a lot of it is calculated to get the intended result that they're shooting for, as getting the best deal for their clients and getting the destination that their clients want at the right price.
So you guys have identified the nefarious reasons for why this is going on. And I think there is a lot of what you're saying going on. There's also a less nefarious reason, and that's just the existence of like a never ending appetite for more information that's been created via, originally, obviously the 24-hour news networks, and now essentially, the never ending social media cycle. And some of these guys are in something of a tough spot. It's a little bit of a chicken and an egg scenario, but if you have a hit to go on every single day of the offseason and are asked for Juan Soto updates or X player updates every single day, you can probably present that as, I don't have any updates. Or you can say, well, let me just take a look over my notes here and let me see exactly what angle I'm viewing these notes from today. You know what I mean? And it's like, there is a constant need to feed, and some of this is self-created. Some of this is MLB Network, the arm of Major League Baseball, where it's like, there is a constant stream of, we're going to bring you on this program every single day and ask you basically the same question until this dude signs. And it's like, okay, how would you like me to answer that?
Because you can, because if it's Juan Soto specifically, we could do 15 minutes right now on what the New York Mets look like with him, what the New York Yankees look like with him or without him, right? That's for every angle that you can approach, or for every angle that you would think about taking with him, there's an opposite angle, and you can talk about both of those. And if you really want to milk it, we'll talk about one of those today, and we'll see you back here tomorrow to talk about the other side. And if anything breaks in between, we'll get your update. It's that simple. That it's every free agent is the horse, and it just gets beat and beat and beat and beat and beat.
Well, that's why I respect Passan so much. Like he doesn't even comment on the rumors. He doesn't speak unless he's got something concrete. Whereas John Heyman will just fucking tweet the same shit over and over and over again and just reword it. Well, all right. So here's a clip, because I've alluded to it for many years. Actually, the Photoshop of Scott Boras and John Heyman as the puppet was something that I had like a Barstool editor do in like 2017 for a blog that I was writing. And then Heyman was supposed to go on with White Sox Dave like a year or two later. And then he was like, "Oh, you're Barstool? I'm not going on with you," and then it was because I called him a Scott Boras puppet. Like, this is nothing new. Like, Heyman being controlled by Scott Boras. There's thing, and I think the last time that this came up, I said like there's things I want to say, but like don't want to, I guess, say for like I'm not trying to get sued or anything, but there's definitely things that I can say that would make you go, all right, yeah, like it's true. I won't do that, but just know that those things are out there. Anyways, here is John Heyman on with Keith McPherson on WFAN.
I've broken a lot of stories. I think the reason that got such play is because people believe everything I tweet. I've had 100,000 tweets, and you get one that was wrong, and it did say appears, and I know I rushed it, and it was a big mistake, and I regret it. But it's 2 years later.
No regrets.
I think
it's like
at some point, I think someone could probably drop it if they're a nice person.
What I think is it just like how I introduced you. Everybody in baseball knows who you are. So one, it's a credit to your work, your following, and how.
By the way, I won't be going on with you again. The whole thing has been a disaster.
That's okay.
I can't even believe you said that to question my integrity.
Are you being serious right now?
I'm being serious. Yeah,
John.
Asking me if I'm getting a cut because I have a relationship with an agent. That's outrageous. I know you're not a journalist. You don't know anything about this. I know you don't, but that's an outrageous comment. You should know that
it's
much.
Friday night at 8:30, John.
You should know that much.
And
I'm done with you.
I'm not taking this that serious.
Goodbye.
John, thank you for joining
I can't
us,
even
John.
believe it.
Thank you,
I can't
John.
even believe it.
Thank you, John. Appreciate your time. He's got to get to bed. I did not expect it to go that way. I think if you heard my tone and the way that I am completely joking and kidding and having a lighter conversation, something that I spoke about recently too, with all of this Juan Soto drama, is like, we need some comic relief, man. I introduced you and gave credit to how everybody follows your words and your tweets and what you do. And if you felt some type of way about it, and even like you said, you regret it, I said, no regrets. All right. It's a testament to, okay, I guess, that was a sore spot, but it's been 2 years. I'll apologize right now. I'm not above that. I apologize to John Heyman if that rubbed him the wrong way, because clearly it did. It just ended the phone call. But maybe the Juan Soto news is coming. Let's move on.
Interesting.
Broken a lot of.
So, John Heyman did not like that Keith was implying like, oh, when Juan Soto signs, what percentage is your cut?
It's
from the Scott Boras camp, and he absolutely crashed out, being like, I can't believe it that you questioned my integrity on this. And it's like, most people don't get that upset unless there's some validity to it. And I don't like the guy. Like I haven't liked him for a long time. Like, this goes back to, cause I mean, like I get, like, some people might be listening right now being like, give the guy a break. He's busting his balls about arson judge. And like, he got the judge to San Francisco thing wrong, and like, give him a break, and, keep busting his balls about Scott Boras. he's just a fucking prick. Like this goes back to I think it was like 2020, and there was like whatever, like that Twitter tournament of like the Red Sox MLB personalities on Twitter, and I've absolutely throttled him, and he started having a temper tantrum on Twitter, being like, I don't get it. He's just a Red Sox fan. Like, why do people like, he actually cared about the results of the tournament and couldn't understand why he lost. And this, by the time like Dallas and I and Jay Hay, like we were doing starting nine for several years at that point. It's like, all right, cool. Yeah. Like I am a Red Sox fan, but we also have a podcast that fucking absolutely dildos whatever podcast you do. I don't even know what his podcast is. But to just dismiss it like, oh yeah, he's just a Red Sox fan. So I don't like, he just gives me those, that vibe of the reporters that used to look at me like when I first started, like, who the fuck are you? Like, no, hey, I'm the guy that's going to boat race you in this thing.
And that's what this is, because many writers at some point in time have, or journalists, whatever, have had that conversation with somebody, with a player, whoever, somebody who feels like they don't have the status to hold the opinions or voice the opinions that they are, right? Because you didn't play the game, or you didn't play the game at this level, right? How many times do people get told that? And this is now like Heyman saying, you don't understand this. You have no idea how this goes. Hold on. You didn't want to hear that from the player when you started out. You didn't like the idea that because you hadn't done certain things to a certain extent that your opinion just wasn't going to matter. That didn't feel good to you then. Why are you doing that to somebody else now? And in this day and age, how those individuals do their job, people turn their devices on, they download, and they listen. They care about those opinions. And so who are you to tell somebody else that they don't get it? Why? Because you didn't like how it was presented to you? That's fair. But you are nobody. You are not the arbiter of integrity to tell them that they don't get it and they have no idea. That's a slap in the face.
I've wanted to say this for a while, but the whole I played and you didn't thing has never been more discredited and irrelevant than in today's world, where so many former players, and there's a lot of them that I respect, and I think that their analysis is great, but there are more former players in the baseball media space now than ever, and some of them have the dumbest fucking opinions that I've ever heard on baseball. Just things where I'm like, did you play? Because what you just said makes no fucking sense. You have no understanding of how this works. So just because you played does not give you the right to be like, my opinion carries more weight than yours. I have been doing this show with Dallas for almost a decade now, and he will check me whenever I'm out of line. I feel like they're like, as far as former players in the media, Dallas and Plouffe are them boys. Like those are the two top for me. As far as like, we're in it, we're doing it, we're on the grind, and we get it from both sides. We get the media side, we get the foreign player side, we get the analyst side, all of that. But never before, here and like paying attention to some of these other shows that have former players on them. Like, yeah, I played. It's like, all right, cool. You played, you've been there, you've done that. Like, I respect that. But that doesn't mean that your opinion carries more weight, because they say some dumbass fucking shit. Same thing with John Heyman, where it's like, all right, yeah, I went to journalism school. Who gives a fuck? That doesn't mean anything in 2024. It does not carry the same way. Oh, you started off at a newspaper and worked your way up. Congratulations for taking the long road. I mean, it's just like I worked at a fucking newspaper for several years. Like I did do that. I don't like talk about it because I don't care.
Losers, you and Jay working at a fucking newspaper.
Yep, I worked at a newspaper. I covered high school sports. I had a Red Sox column.
But honestly,
I started part-time at a newspaper.
Same. So worked at a magazine. I did all that shit.
But think about this.
I just looked at it and was like, this is not where media is going. Like, this is not like, this is like, I would rather not lose my voice and because before it was like, if you were going to work at a newspaper, you had to be like, yeah, I'm not a fan. Why? Why can't I be a fan?
Be objective.
Yeah. Why can't, as a consumer, don't you want to consume your content from someone that cares as much as you? Absolutely. But people like John Heyman, they look down on that. Like, oh, I don't have a vesting interest in it. It's like, okay, that's fine, but that's boring to me.
Yeah, that takes me back to the day that me and Cora were calling the fucking College World Series game, Texas Tech against Florida, and Tech hits the first home run in their College World Series history, and I'm losing my shit emotionally, not verbally over the air. And Alex is sitting right next to me. He sees me getting pumped up. He starts fucking fist pumping. And now people are looking at us like in the fucking press box, like, oh God, like shaking their head and shit. And I remember walking out after the game because I had to walk and go do a hit with the big show, with the mothership. And I was walking through the press box and I just remember going, it's street legal to enjoy this. You can have fun. What's happening out there, really fun. They're enjoying it too. You guys should enjoy it too.
Yeah.
Because I could just see their looks and see, I don't care about what you think is the right way to do this anymore, because that ship is gone. It hasn't sailed. That fucking thing is sunk. It's not coming back. Like, it's sailing gives you the idea that it could come back around. No, it's not. It's not. It's sunk. It's at the bottom. Get in a sub. Go check it out.
Yeah. So that's why I don't feel bad for Heyman. People are like, give him a break. I'm like, no, because for me, it's personal. Like, if you want to insult me, I'm very petty. I'll never forget it. Obviously, no apology is ever coming for like the way that he spoke about me.
And
time. So
he's lucky I am the dude I really am inside, because you guys remember the tirade he went on and the like Nazi laden rant he went on in my DMs.
Oh yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, you send something like that to somebody's employer and they're having a sit down conversation. That's not something that just goes by the wayside.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm just glad that people are getting woke to the fact that he, there's a connection there. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Yeah. Driving around in fancy cars, working at Fan Rag Sports. People will start to go,
What I mean, you sure there's nothing you wanna?
No.
I mean, not even it's just a nibble. I mean, it's Christmas.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it'll catch up to him eventually, because he makes a lot of people mad, and he carries himself in a way where, I mean, what happens when Scott Boras is like, I'm retired? Then what?
Well, I mean, at that point, Heyman will be like 70 years old. It's probably too late to get proper justice.
Yeah.
In terms of his employment aspects, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't he have won at that point?
Yeah, sure.
If he just makes it till Boris's retirement.
I guess in the end, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't really. But I mean,
does any of it?
Yeah. I mean, everybody's got to keep score for themselves, right?
Sure. Just thought it was a funny segment on WFAN. I'll gladly go back on. I was on last week. I had a great time with Keith. Love going on with Keith. I hope
seems
he
like
ends up being really upset, though.
It
seems like a guy who gets it. Seems like a guy who gets it.
Okay, probably, maybe. It's also like a little bit of come on, man, where he was like, I was trying to give him credit for how everybody knows him by mentioning how he fucked up, basically.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't present it great. Well, the thing Keith was doing was
that's
saying...
what I respect about it. That's what I respect
Keith was trying to make it seem like I upset him by doing the arson judge thing, but it's like, no, he got upset because you were poking at you're on the Boris payroll.
Yeah.
That's what hit the spot.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, you're mad about me calling you out about the arson?" He's like, "No, that was 2 years ago, and a nice guy would drop that." But what I'm really pissed about, and I think I'm really pissed about it, he's like, "Oh, are you sure? Because I don't think
Yeah, he was playing dumb there a little bit, but it's whatever. It's funny. I enjoyed it. Well, now we have a new addition to the soundboard.
I can't even believe it.
Thank you,
I can't
John.
even believe it.
What was happening in the last part? Was it this? Yeah. Like, does the phone get turned? Does the phone get turned and now he's yelling at the phone? Like, he's like, I can't even believe it. Does the phone get thrown after? Like, what is the mechanic there?
I feel like it's the Dallas Braden online with tech support mode.
No, I start talking very quickly and loudly.
Tech support. My friend. Like,
yeah. Oh, buddy. God, that was just the visual I have of
that
him.
poor luggage guy.
Yeah.
Dallas just put on the streets or whatever.
He's doing great now. He's doing great. But seriously, like the video, you guys are talking about the fucking video that he was in the other day where he's fucking, it's half his face and he's staring in the fucking opposite direction. Like, yeah. How do you go from there? Like, what does the meltdown look like? God damn, I want to see that meltdown. Like there might be 3 things I want to see more in my life than this meltdown. I want that. Ask me the hot tub time machine question right now. Ask it to me. And here's my answer. I want to go back in time and be a fly on the wall. I want to be on the camera of whatever device John Heyman was using when he lost his shit.
Thank you, John.
I can't even believe
it.
I was so excited to send it to Dallas. I heard it. It was almost like,
but
if you were to see the breaking
15
news
times
tweet,
in a row.
Same. Like I would sit here, like once I put it on the soundboard, I'm just like sitting here pushing the button by myself. It's like, you see the breaking news Juan Soto tweet and you want to like rush to like send it to your friends so that you can be the one to tell them first. I saw the John Heyman clip and I was like, I have to be the one to show this to Dallas first.
Oh my God, dude. It was one of those things where I listened to it. And then Meg was like, what is that? And I told her and, she got a chuckle. And then I'm not joking. 5 more minutes went by and she was like, are you still? I was like, it's fucking hilarious. You don't understand. Because I told her the same thing. I was like, you got to realize I'm envisioning this dude who like in his brain just has this armor, this cloak of baseball integrity that he's dressed in. And all of that has been called into question in like 7 seconds. And this is the moment where he's had it. He's not fucking answering this anymore. He's not addressing this anymore. And this is the pinnacle of it. This is the moment where shit hit the fan. I said, I need to see what his face looked like. I need to see it.
Like John Heyman does that Bleacher Report stream every single day, and he still writes for the New York Post. So like if you're WFAN, like people are being like, oh, why don't you, they have to fire Keith because now he's never going to come on the Fan anymore. It's like, what information are you really getting in those interviews that's new? Like, is it really a loss? Probably not. I mean, the win was getting that moment.
I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it.
That right there is worth him never coming on ever again, is getting that. Yeah.
Maybe we've already won because all of the most memorable moments of his career are his mistakes.
Yeah.
All the successes are vapor and all the mistakes are, soundboard.
Yeah. Like when John Morosi fucked up by having the report of Shohei on the flight to Toronto, I felt bad because he's like a good guy. I like Morosi. But don't like Heyman. He's not a good guy.
Yeah, Morosi's a great
dickhead. Yeah. So like Morosi, like we didn't rag on him.
No.
It's like, yeah, man, you know, you've been in the business a long time, and there's going to be instances where you don't get it right, and that's okay. But yeah, I think yesterday was the anniversary of Arson Judge, and people were tweeting him about it, and he was blocking anyone. Like, how sensitive are you? You're blocking people that.
Oh, I've been blocked for years.
I mean, you got to know that's coming. Like, this is going to be every year. Like you missed on, at the moment, the biggest free agent signing the game was going to see for a very long, and
I mean, that guy just decided a long time ago that he was just going to be blocking people for, you know, like very light stuff. I think I got blocked for like effectively saying like, what did we learn? You know, like this was years ago. I was like, what did we learn with this tweet or whatever? And blocked like 6-7 years ago.
I talk shit about him to him, and he doesn't block me. I don't know why. Like I quote tweeted him the other day, and I was like, every tweet is the same. It's just the same shit reworded, and he doesn't block me. This tweet was from a couple days ago. This is from Teoscar Hernandez's agent, Rafa. He said, because John Heyman blocked him because he tweeted Happy Arson Judge Day, John, to John Heyman. John Heyman blocked him. Rafa tweeted, hey, at John Heyman, since everyone seems to be dunking on you right now, I want to help you. I'm willing to donate $25,000 to a charity of your choice if you let me come on your show and tell you why I don't like you. I'll bring the receipts also.
Damn.
I'm going to throw that a retweet right now.
All right. See if the fish are biting.
Yeah, I mean, bring more attention to it. I mean, imagine John Heyman turns down $25,000 to a charity because he doesn't want to have this guy on to be like, hey, here's why you're an asshole.
Well, it was maybe he's oh, I don't know, Jared. Maybe he's got different streams of revenue. You know what I did find interesting?
What'd you find interesting?
The general manager, was it the general manager of the Mets, had to have a little sit down with their son? Did you guys see this?
No, the manager.
Oh, the manager, yes.
It's Carlos Mendoza, yeah.
Carlos Mendoza, yes. The manager.
Yeah.
Had to have a little sit down because homeboy was checking the chat. Homeboy was checking the chat like, yo.
He pulled the "Do you know who I am" card.
Exactly. And
I love that.
And I love it even more because the answer is immediately, no, I don't know that you're the son of the New York Mets manager. I don't know that. And hand up.
I don't know.
That's on me. So you got me. You got me. But now that I do know who you are, tell me more. And Carlos was like, yeah, about that, we're going to have to hit the parental control. And you, son, are now fucking done. Done. The social media account scrapped.
Yeah, his account's gone now. So
gone.
What did he say? 15 for 700 or 15 for 750?
I think it was 15 for 750, wasn't it? Like in the comments, or maybe no. I don't know if there was there a dollar sign attached to it, or was it just 15?
Let's see.
But oh fuck, man. Like that right there, to the conversation we were just having about how things have changed, you could legitimately have and I don't know how old this kid is. Is he in high school?
I think he's 12.
You could have an 8th grader. you could have an 8th grader, a 7th grader.
He said Mets offer him 700 over 15.
Oh, so there you go.
Dude's report is already dated.
Yeah. So yeah, how about that? So let's just say this out loud, Jay. The 12-year-olds report via an Instagram comment section is already dated, is already old. That right there is the environment that John Heyman lives in.
Well, let that be a lesson to this 12-year-old. Go to journalism school.
Right. But that's the landscape. That's the landscape where a 12-year-old could just be like, you know what, bro, I'm waiting for the bus and you're coming at me all sideways right now. Let me check your ass. All right. You have no idea who the fuck I am. No idea. I just traded a pack of Gushers for 2 juice boxes and a fucking week's worth of pizza. Let me tell you who the fuck I am.
It's funny. What was the other report? Oh, Sasaki. Now apparently it's just like back to being a slam dunk that he's going to the Dodgers after, what was it? Jim Bowden said 85% chance that it's the field.
Yeah.
Now it's like, yep, it's just a formality. He's signing with the Dodgers.
I just want to hear from the Dodgers exec who was like, who was it? It's the agent, right?
Who? Oh yeah, the agent that was like, there's an agreement.
What?
Oh
No.
What even is an agreement?
Never. Us? No. God, no.
You think stuff like that happens?
Not here.
For shame. Shame on you. Isn't that what he said?
Yeah,
Anyone who thinks that that's true, shame on you.
Shame.
Never said no. Never once said that it wasn't.
Oh, God, no. No.
Just was like, oh, you think that we agreed under the table to a deal with
Out
the
of
Dodgers? For shame.
All the things to imply. That is one of them. And I
bastards,
can't believe
all of you.
Oh.
Yeah. Well. That's good.
So when could we possibly record next when Soto signs?
Yeah, there'll be a Soto emergency pod. There will be I think Thursday is the safe day for me to pod in Disney. So we'll do a Thursday pod. And yeah, any emergency signing, Mickey Mouse ears strapped, and we'll take it from there.
Are we of the belief that that's the needle mover, right? Not much other action's going to occur.
I don't know. I feel like Fried or Burns could happen, I guess, this week.
I'm living in a world where those two are legitimately attached to the team that does not land Juan Soto.
I mean,
I know it's
multiple
crazy
teams that are not going to land Juan Soto.
You're absolutely right. But I think the team that you know what? Said a different way, the landing spot for Max Fried or Corbin Burns, one of the two in my crazy brain where they both go, maybe that is the team that identifies themselves as the team who really wanted Soto, feels like they just missed out and they were the ones who were all in and are like, we can't go another day without having one of these dudes.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I guess. Anyways, make sure you head on over to Underdog's simple to use mobile app or underdogfantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code Jared, Jared, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Jared to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Thursday's episode, Family Feud. It's Cy Young, right, Jay?
Yes, indeed. I believe it was 1977.
1977.
Cy Young or MVP? We just did Cy Young.
I know, but it's randomized.
Yeah, it's just random. It's just it's 1977.
1977 Cy Young. And the 1996 redraft?
Yes, indeed.
1996 redraft. Goddamn, boy.
That's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. It's gonna be a hell of a pod, and we're gonna be celebrating Juan Soto to the Boston Red Sox.
Wow.
Yeah. 15 years, $891 million is all it's gonna take to make that happen.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's good value, brother.
Yeah, it's just good stuff.
You gotta think about inflation, 15 years from now.
For sure.
What is $40 million a year? That's gonna be like what? $11 million a year right now?
Yep. That's good. That is good business.
Yep.
Make it a clean Billy. Just make it a clean bill.
Yeah, why not?
Bill me.
I mean,
That probably gets it done.
yeah,
I'd say.
yeah. If you
Does
do,
$1 billion with no opt-outs get it done?
Yes.
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's a real question.
over less years too.
Yeah,
billion
probably
over
like
12, no ops.
Billy over 8.
Over 6.
Maybe just like a 1 year, one bill with like a player option.
Yeah. Player
like-
option for 20.
Yeah, 20 bill.
Any final thoughts here today, gentlemen?
Excited for Christmas. Very excited for Christmas.
Oh, hell yeah, brother.
That's cool. Yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah, it's going to be a good Christmas.
You get all your shopping done already?
I've gotten the majority of my shopping done. Yes, I have. I feel fucking great about it. I do.
Yeah, I'm closing in.
Feel really good about it.
Yeah, I'm closing in. Finished. I think I got my dad yesterday. I'm excited for that one because usually I like to do one big thing, but I kind of went like multiple medium things. But I think he's gonna really appreciate those. I went big for Ellen. My sister, I usually just get her like tickets on the glass for the Bruins. She is obsessed with the Bruins. And
They're
then
taken care of. I usually take care of their stocking stuffers.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I appreciate that. Saves me some money. But I'm almost done. We should have done.
Jay, how we doing Christmas?
Wait, you know what? I thought so. The baseball is dead. Ugly Christmas sweater is out. I didn't know that. My mom texted me and she was like, "Oh, I went to go get the Section 10 Ugly Christmas sweater. It was sold out." I was like, "Yeah, they went fast." And then she was like, "What?" Like, I guess can I get the baseball is dead one? I was like, to my knowledge, like I was never notified that it was out, but I guess it is. So baseballisdeadmerch.com, ugly Christmas sweater for Baseball is Dead. I'm gonna fucking tweet it out. Yeah.
I would have worn it in my Toys for Tots ugly Christmas sweater softball tournament yesterday.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have either in my possession. But I'm gonna have to. I'll tweet that out right after we're done recording today.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd love to get one of those.
Same.
Yep. Well, it's good to know they're out.
Baseballisdeadmerch.com. Ugly Christmas sweaters. Jay, hey, any final thoughts today?
I was just going to ask you what the update was on the ugly Christmas sweater. So you just satisfied my my final thought right there. Nailed it.
There it is.
Yep. Wow.
There it is. Jake's takes.
Just want to point John Heyman to betterhelp.com/baseball. Do a lot of great work over there if you need to get anything off your chest. We don't have that read till Thursday, but feel like it'd be relevant right now.
I can't even believe it.
Thank you,
I
John.
can't even believe it.
Yeah, he's going through it right now. The holidays are a stressful time for all of us. They're a stressful time for all of us. So, thank you, Jake. Appreciate that. All right. Back on Thursday, live from Disney. Can't wait. Or before, probably before.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a world where Juan Soto hasn't made a decision by fucking Thursday.
Maybe from the restroom of your southbound United flight.
Yeah, maybe. I really because I've already seen a fucking report this morning about like, it could be tomorrow. Don't be tomorrow. Just do it today.
Yeah, today or Tuesday.
If it happens tomorrow, I on the flight.
Oh wait, no, the thing is on Tuesday. That's right. You're the recital or whatever. The competition.
Yeah, competition. It's at 11 a.m., which is like prime signing hours.
Prime signing time.
Well, they have Wi-Fi in those, right? Like,
not that I've ever been to. They're usually like they jam your damn phone. Like some of these competitions that I've been to, you can't even get a text out. It's so bad.
Can you get like one of those like like old radio
sat phones?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do, but I will go to drastic measures to make sure that I'm available.
Get a ham radio?
Yeah, you should test out your connection before you go in with Jake or something like that. Make sure you're reachable.
Yeah.
be crazy if you were stuck inside watching the competition and we were podding about Juan Soto going to
The Red Sox.
Yeah, the Red Sox. We just Dallas and I just hopped on over to Section 10 and we just did this giant orgy of Soto Red Sox, and you were just clapping.
It's the first episode I've ever missed in the history of both shows.
Yeah, it's cool. Jared's watching him crush the pyramid right now.
Yeah.
They stopped the landing at least.
That's actually a decent idea. Jake, have trouble getting in touch with Jared on Tuesday.
Yeah. We got it.
I'm so nervous. I just get me through these next couple days.
No, it's a well-timed trip for sure.
It's so bad, but hey, you got to be present, right,
buddy?
Got to be present.
No, you'll never get any real criticism on that from me. Godspeed.
Yeah, you guys know. All right, we'll be back on Thursday
or before.
Godspeed. Juan Soto, the Red Sox.
Wow.